Should you sell your home or buy first? Because I'll tell you right now, picking the wrong one can cost you thousands of dollars, or even worse, it cost you the home you actually wanted. Today, I'm going to break down exactly when selling first is the right call, when buying gives you the advantage, and maybe, and most importantly, the biggest mistakes I'm watching people make right now here in Lancaster. The Lancaster market is still moving, inventory is still tight in key price points. When a home is priced correctly, it gets attention fast, sometimes multiple offers and within days. And sellers right now, they're not looking at the highest price, they're looking at the cleanest offer, the most certain buyer possible. Which means one decision: sell first or buy first. Directly changes how competitive you are on the buy side and how much control you have on the selling side. It's not a timing question, it's a strategy question. And strategy is where most people are unprepared. Let's start with selling first, because for the right person, it actually is the right move. Selling first works best when you're working with tighter savings or you need the equity from your current home to fund your down payment. It also makes sense if you genuinely do not want to carry two mortgages under any circumstances, even temporarily. Those are completely valid reasons. The upside is real. You know exactly what your budget is before you start shopping, no financial overlap, no stress about timing, and you go into the search with cash in hand and a clear number. There's no mortgage payments, so you're never going to be carrying two mortgages at once. Your budget is already locked in before you start looking, so there's lower financial pressure during that transitionary period. But here's the trade-off, and I want you to hear me clearly. There are two different options. First of all, you're going to need temporary housing, whether that be a family member or rental. This means moving twice, moving all those boxes, getting the timeline right. Because you're on the clock, you may also feel that additional pressure to buy faster than you should, especially if you don't like the accommodation you're staying in. And the other one is contingent offers. If you're making an offer contingent on the sale of your property, it's going to be far less attractive than someone who isn't. I'd say unless you're doing phenomenal additional terms such as no inspections or a huge down payment, it's unlikely you're going to beat many other types of offer out. Now, the huge win is you are financially much safer, but you must sacrifice convenience, timing, and the ability to compete for the home that you actually want. Know which trade-off you're making before you decide whether to buy or sell first. Now, let's talk about buying first and why, for the right buyer, there is a real advantage here. Buying first works best when you've built up a meaningful amount of equity in your current home. You have stable income, and you can qualify and carry both properties during a transitionary period. This means that your offer can be non-contingent, so you're not asking for the seller to wait for you to sell your home, and that is real leverage in today's market. You only have to move once into the right home and not the closest available rental or with family. You also get to sell your current home properly, priced right, not rushed, and on your timeline. Now, the cons are you are going to temporarily have a higher monthly payment, and that's the real cost to acknowledge, honestly. This requires planning. You need to make sure that you run the numbers before you commit and that you have enough in reserves. Now, this is how you win the home, and not just any home. There's a meaningful difference between these two things, and buyers who've been through a competitive search know exactly what I mean. Let me tell you what I'm actually seeing in Lancaster County right now, because the national real estate conversations don't necessarily apply to our area. I'm watching buyers make contingent offers on well-priced homes and lose. Not because their offer was too low, because the seller had three other offers on the table without contingencies and chose certainty over uncertainty. I'm seeing homes in the right price range get multiple offers within a couple of days, and that's not every neighborhood, but it's a real in more areas than people would expect, especially in the sort of $300,000 to $600,000 price point. And the sellers I work with, when we look at offers together, a clean offer from a well-qualified buyer who can close without conditions is almost always more attractive than a slightly higher number with strings attached. In Lancaster County right now, the cleanest offer wins. Not always the highest, the cleanest. Understanding that changes how you prepare when writing your offers. All right. I want to talk about mistakes because this is where I see people actually lose. Number one is waiting too long to get started. The home they wanted came on the market, they weren't ready, and then it sold. And then they're still looking 6 months later. Number two is listing their current home before they have a plan. Their home sells fast, great. Now they're under pressure to buy something, anything on a deadline, and that's how you end up in the wrong house. Number three is assuming they can't qualify for both loans at the same time. Most people don't know what a recast is. They don't know the different type of bridge strategies that exist, and it can end up costing them far more than a few $1,000s in interest. Most people don't lose because of the market. They lose because of a poor strategy, and that almost always comes down to not having the right information and the right conversations early enough. There is a third option, and it's the one I walk my clients through when the numbers make sense. Buy first, sell after, and then recast. You buy your next home with a low down payment, potentially 5% down conventional, You move in on your terms and then you sell your current home without being under any pressure. You can take those proceeds, apply them to the new loan, and then the lender recalculates your monthly payment at the lower balance. No refinancing, no new closing costs, same loan, significantly lower payment. It gives you the financial stability of selling first and then the competitive advantage of buying first. Now listen, this isn't for everyone. You need equity, stable income, and the ability to qualify carrying both homes temporarily. But when it works well, and I've had plenty of clients execute this strategy successfully. I go deep into the recasting process in another video, and I'll link it at the end and in the description below. If any of this sounds like it might fit your situation, then that's the one to watch next. So after all that, let me give you a framework you can actually use. If you need the proceeds from your current home to fund your next purchase, sell first. That's your path. It's the most financially conservative move, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you have equity, strong income, and you want to control which home you end up in next, then buy first. The temporary overlap in payment in the price is in your control. And for most people, it's well worth it. And if you want both, the control of buying first and then the financial clarity of selling first, then the hybrid solution might be your answer. But that one requires a real conversation with someone who can look at your actual financial picture and give you the best strategy. 3 paths. The right one depends on your equity, your income, and your risk tolerance, and your local market. Not a Reddit thread, not a national average, your situation in your area. If you're sitting here thinking, okay, but I still don't know which one applies to me, that's completely normal because the right answer depends on the numbers that are actually specific to your situation. Here's what I suggest. Let me help you map it out for you. We look at your equity, your income, your timeline, and tell you honestly which path gives you the best position. No pressure, no pitch, just your numbers and a straight answer. The link to book a call is in the description, and there's also a link to my home mover page if you want to start getting a feel for what's available in Lancaster right now. And if you want a full breakdown of the buy first strategy with a recast, then click this video here.